Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod After Dark. I am Jeff, and I'm an assassination enthusiast. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my cuz-host.
I'm Leslie, and I'm pleasantly surprised. You are not like the other murderers.
I wonder how many murderers like somebody has to know before they're like, you are a murdering outlier. Like you're not. You think it's five in order to like be able to see one standard deviation from the norm of murderers. You have to know at least your sample size has to be at least five.
I'm gonna say five. Keep it simple.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, it's arbitrary, but that's fine. I
of
mean,
course. Listen,
so is the line of inquiry.
as you as you said on a recent episode about like you can just throw numbers out there, I too can just throw numbers out there. You only need
Packer
to know
method.
five murderers.
That's right, Packer method. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the answer. I like it. This week, Cheesemeisters, we are discussing Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, the 2002 What If the Worst Thing I Did with My Life Wasn't the Gong Show masterpiece. Directed by George Clooney in his directorial debut. Written by Charlie Kaufman and Chuck Barris, much to Charlie Kaufman's dismay. And starring Sam Rockwell, Drew Barrymore, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, bunch of naked ladies, some intense lighting, some clips from reality programs, bunch of stuff.
We get Brad Pitt and Matt Damon for free.
That's right, Gene the Dancing Machine. We got the comic with the bag over his head. I can't remember what that guy's
The unknown comic.
unknown comic. I was like, what mystery comic? Yeah, the unknown comic. We had all of it. We are watching this in conjunction with season 3, episode 24, Perfectly Perfect. And our spelling connection is once again Ulysses Everett McGill, who did an episode of Heart to Heart, and Drew Barrymore, who was in the Charlie's Angels movies, which, as we know, are spelling related. So, you had never seen this movie before. I had seen it once when it came out. Um, there's a lot to dig into here, but did you like it?
I think to a point, yes, because I was intrigued by it. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for the discussion we're gonna have over it. I'm also a little disturbed by it. So I think liking is kind of a pointless moniker to put on this.
Okay.
I'm glad we finally get, or I'm glad this is how we get George Clooney to direct because I think he's talented. But yeah, it's very interesting because I'm just going to jump into it. I don't think they believed him. I don't think this story shows that we believe Chuck Barris. They are
Mm,
telling a story, and it is a story. It does not feel like a biopic that I have seen.
okay. Excellent. All right. So, for people who haven't seen this, what this is about, Chuck Barris was he invented. Well, he wrote the song Palisades Park, which was a big hit for Freddie Boom Boom Cannon. By the way, great fucking nickname, Boom Boom. Um, Even if your last name isn't really Cannon, like it's just Boom Boom is perfect. I like it. Um, but then he created the dating game and the newlywed game and the Gong Show and a bunch of other silly reality programming in the 70s. Um, and that's why we're watching it in conjunction with Perfectly Perfect, because Brandon and Steve go on the dating show, and Steve meets Celeste. Um, and so, Chuck Barris created these things. But he also did this thing in like 1984 where he wrote what he called an unauthorized autobiography, where he claimed, which is kind of phenomenal. Like I'm fully on board for the coupling of those two words together, because as our buddy Raj Ebert pointed out, all autobiographies are a little bit make believe. You know, like and that Norm Macdonald wrote one that is fantastic, and we've talked about it at least once. I don't remember when, but at some point, um, where I think his was called "Based on a True Story," and he was like, "It's based on a true story because it's what I remember." You know, even though like what he remembered was also a bunch of shit he just made up, like, you know. Um, so the idea that like an autobiography at its core is fiction. You know, it's like it's an approximation of your life. Because you put the filter on of whatever it is you're feeling at the time you wrote it about the things you did. And we don't always have perfect memory of the things that we've done, or our perception of something that we did and the meaning that it has changes over time. So it's all based on a true story. So the idea that this is an unauthorized autobiography is pretty funny to me. But the kicker in it is he says, yeah, I wrote this Palisades Park and I created the dating game and the newlywed game and the gong show. But I had a deep, empty chasm in the center of me where I felt really horrible about what I had wrought on this world. And did I mention that I was also an assassin for the CIA the whole time? Yeah, they recruited me. They said, "Hey, if you're going to go to Prague anyway, um, you know, like you're going to be there. These the kids in this dating show, they're going to be off fucking someplace. You're going to have a couple hours free time. Can you just go bump this dude off for us?" And he's like, "On it." Um, and so he writes this in his autobiography, and people are like, "But did he? Is that a? Did you really?" Yeah, and mostly he just refused to confirm or disconfirm. He just sort of let it be out there that this was a thing he did, and so they took this story and they went, "This is," and not incorrectly, "this is fascinating. Like,
Yes.
what if this? What if this is true? Like, what if this was really what this guy did?" And then they made that movie. Now, as you say, I'm not 100% sure that the movie believes him. I don't. I don't think that. I don't think that the screenplay believes him. I'm not sure that the direction believes him. Um, I think Sam Rockwell's performance believes him. Like he is in it. Like Rockwell is all the way in this thing, and it's great. He's really, really good. Um,
Well, you'd have to. As that actor, I feel like you
yeah,
have to make a choice that, like, I'm believing this man. This is the story he's telling, and now I'm telling his story. I have to
yeah,
believe this.
yeah. I think that's 100% right. If he doesn't believe it, then the whole thing fails. I just don't. I don't think it works. Um, but so he, it's so you go into this movie if you know that if you know that he wrote this in his autobiography, you go into it thinking, I wonder if this is true or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although Roger Ebert, our buddy, um, was like, I didn't even know that. I just thought Charlie Kaufman was having some fun, like because this seems like a thing Charlie Kaufman would do. You know, um,
Okay.
because he's the guy who put us inside the mind of John Malkovich, and like he's done some real deep inside the brain funkiness um, with the stories he's told, adaptation and whatnot. Um, which have you seen either of those movies? Being John Malkovich
No,
or adaptation?
I tried watching Being John Malkovich, and I think it was too uh, mindy bindy for me
Uh huh.
at the
Sure.
time. So I would try it again. I have seen, I think Charlie Kaufman did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
He
Mind.
did. Yeah.
And I
And
have
I've not
seen
seen that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very cool concept. So yeah, and anyway, I forget where we were starting from with this, but all that to say, I've at least seen one of his movies.
Okay. Um, yeah, I haven't seen anything of his since this movie. Like this is the last one of his I watched, and I
Oh
don't
no,
not on purpose. It's just
he
like
would be
that.
very
I was looking
sad.
back. Right? I was looking back at his IMDb and I'm like, oh no, this was the last one I watched. And I really liked Malkovich and I really liked Adaptation and I really liked this. And then I don't know what I did. I just didn't do any more. Um so it's it's such a weird little thing. And oh, the point was that Roger didn't know that this was like based on his story. He just thought it was like made up. Um
Which, to be fair, don't we have that question during every biopic that we watch? Wait, did this happen?
sure. Right. Yeah. hmm It's just that this one feels bigger. Like the is this real is way bigger than like did this happen before or after Queen played Live Aid? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like shit like that gets moved around a lot in these in biopics and stuff like that. But this one is like what if we're not sure if at least half of this is bullshit? You know, like
Right.
and the half that makes it a story, you know, because if the story is the real life of Chuck Barris, which is, you know, Page at NBC, worked on American Bandstand, uh, wrote Palisades Park, created a bunch of reality game shows that were massively popular in the 70s, and then they kind of felt bad about it. Is that a story? Like, is that movie worthy? I'm not sure. But if I was a CIA assassin at the same time I was doing that, that's a story, you know?
You know what I just realized too that I do like about this movie, because I don't think people are willing to like go down this path very much anymore, is this movie forces you to ask yourself, to really ask yourself, like, do I believe this or not? Do I believe this story?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there are other movies now that are doing that for someone else, but like for me, this is the first time in a while where I have watched a movie that is, you know, in the genre of biopic and gone, I absolutely do not believe this. And like,
Yeah.
you know, people, it's okay to rely on the internet to ask, like, because of course I did some research, but
Mm-hmm.
I still like had my feeling, went with my gut, researched it, and I'm like, yeah, I still believe this. And I forget where I was going to go with that, but I just think more people should be asking themselves instead of taking everything that they see as fact, because of
Mm-hmm.
course we have that problem everywhere now.
Mm-hmm. So what's interesting to me about it is, like, let's say it's bullshit, which is what we think, right? We don't think this is like real. I don't think anybody really thinks that he was an assassin for the CIA, even though, like, that's exactly some shit that the CIA has done in the past. Like, go look up Josephine Baker. Like, go do it. You know, there's a whole really interesting podcast called Winds of Change. I don't know if you've listened to it. It's about, you know, the song by Scorpions, Winds of Change, right? That's the
I,
name of
not
the
off the
song.
top of my head.
It's the song that came out in, I don't know, 1990, right around the time of the, like right after the fall of the Berlin Wall. But this song like played a large role in like breaking down the barriers between East and West at the time of like Glasnost and whatnot. And like it's a story about sort of the song is about the fall of communism, but the podcast is this guy, I don't remember who it was. I, I heard a rumor that this song was written by the CIA in order to bring down communism. And so he goes digging to see if, right, your face is right. That's crazy, right? And, but he goes digging and he's like, I couldn't, and I think it's spoilers. I don't think he's able to figure out one way or the other. But like
Okay.
all true podcasts, that's sort of how it ends. Nobody knows. Um, but it's fascinating all the little people that he talks to and who are like, I don't think this is true, but we've done crazier shit than this. Like the CIA does crazy shit like this, and they use entertainment to infiltrate.
Mm-hmm.
They've done it. They've done it since the 30s. So it's possible, right? Like it's not impossible that this happened. Um, but what's more interesting, if you come at it from the perspective of I think this is bullshit, is why did Chuck Barris think that being an assassin would be redemptive? Right? Because he's like the whole crux for him is, he's created these things, he's wildly successful, his shows are in homes across the country. um he's he's created zeitgeist and ridden this wave, but he's also been called like the person responsible for the fall of Western civilization, like because these things are so detrimental to the national mood and health and dumbing down and whatever. To which I'll
They're not
say,
wrong.
yeah, except like, I mean, is Gilligan's Island or Beverly Hillbillies all that smart? Not really.
No,
Like,
and I mean, it's one of many things. Like it's like I tell people, humans have always sucked, Like, I mean, people used to go watch executions live. Like, that is,
sure.
it's just another version of reality TV, which, incidentally, Chuck Barris also said someone's going to end up getting killed live on TV someday. It's like, well,
Mhm.
yeah. So I think it's unfair to put it all on him. People do have choice and they make that choice
Interesting
all the
one.
time.
Right. Yeah. But like he took it to heart that he was like responsible for the downfall of whatever.
Of course he did.
And right, but like he said, the way that my life, which is tarred with this brush of corrupting everyone, would be better is if I fucked my way across Europe and killed 33 people. Like, why is that his redemption in his own head?
I think a couple things. I think he wanted to seem more interesting than he is, even though it's America. You get on TV, you're automatically interesting to people somehow.
You got a top 5 song and 3 hit TV shows. That's interesting. I mean, it's a boring movie if that's the whole movie, as we say. But
Maybe also he felt like, well, if you all already think I'm bad, I'm going to give you the real reason you should think I'm bad, except I did work for the government. I saved this country, you know?
right, he doesn't think his assassin work was a negative.
Yeah.
He thinks that's redemptive. That balances the scales for all of the in the ass that I did on television. Um, which is great, by the way. I mean, no notes to that lady. Um, um, but like he like that to me is what is interesting is like he lived a life that for I don't know 98% of the people in this country would be remarkable on its face, right? Hit song, created 3 TV shows, hosted the Gong Show, like cultural imprint. Like you have touched the lives of everyone in this country. That is extraordinary. It just is. It's top 1-2% shit.
Yeah.
And for him, it was not enough because it wasn't. I don't know. It didn't uplift, and it made him feel bad about the things that he did. So he creates a fiction that to him is good, and to me is like, well, you just killed a bunch of people. I don't even know if like who knows if they were the bad guys. Like we don't know.
Right.
You killed him because someone told you to. Like, what if that guy was an asshole?
I think he's like many creative types too, in that he wants to do a lot of things and either see what sticks or not even not see what sticks, but just he has so many ideas and he has so many ways he wants to put those ideas out into the world that maybe it's overwhelming, or again, I don't know. It's a dangerous mind. I
Yeah.
like we the great thing is we will never know. Um but it's interesting and cool to dissect.
Yeah. Um. So you you wanted to talk about reality television and its deleterious impact on society, and I think we should do that. But I'm gonna warn you that I think I don't agree all the time.
That's
So
okay.
yeah,
Cuz
because I like Survivor. Um,
well, listen, I got you beat. I still watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette. I don't know why anymore. I've definitely come and
sure.
gone on some seasons. I watch Queer Eye, and Queer Eye's amazing, so like you won't get me off of that. But all the same, at the end of the day, who am I? I am I'm like everyone else, human. It's the same with sugar. When people are like, "Oh well, I'm trying to cut back on sugar. I've cut out sugar completely," and I'm like, "Good for you." That's very hard for a lot of people.
Yep. Give
Also,
me that donut.
like we're in America, it's kind of impossible in general because like Pawnee, Indiana, they just put sugar in all the things. So
Yeah.
that was me shaking sugar.
I thought you were mixing it in your coffee.
No, funnily enough, that's the thing. I don't, not a super sweet person, but like obviously sugar comes in all forms. Just like reality TV now, it's impossible to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
But just like with sugar, you need things in moderation. Or like I don't even think you need reality TV. The only good that could come from reality TV is maybe feeling like you see yourself in someone that you might not normally see. um it can be relaxing. It's a nice distraction, just like any other form of entertainment from your own drama or banality. um but it's ugh. I mean, it's tricked people into thinking that it's actually real when it's not. It's just an easier form of storytelling. It's, you know, it's putting people in scenarios, making sure they hit certain beats, and then just letting them go.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, yeah, if someone gave me 6 weeks, a brand new wardrobe, the best dates ever, I get to travel, you're damn right I'm going to fall in love with one of the 25 people here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's easy. Anyone can fall in love in that situation. But
Mm-hmm.
like, that's going to be completely different from real life of like 6 weeks. Like, we've barely had time to schedule 2 dates. Like, I like you, but I'm really busy with work and all these other things. So, I do think reality TV has contributed greatly to, yeah, I'm going to say it, our demise. Like, we are dumber as a society. We are getting dumber all the time. And it's not just reality TV's fault, but it certainly doesn't help because asking people are asking themselves less and less, do I believe this? Why do I believe this?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's dangerous to take anything that claims to be reality or reality adjacent as fact. I mean, I'm thinking of the problem with The Crown now. Like, that show was so good, but then once we got closer and closer to our current timeline,
Mm-hmm.
people really needed to be slapped over the head with, this is our interpretation of it. Some of this stuff happened. Anything behind closed doors, we have no idea because there weren't cameras, there weren't phones, someone didn't write down the whole thing. Like, people really needed to be hit over the head with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of different layers to this stuff. And there's a lot of different types of reality shows. You know, like there's the stuff that Chuck Barris did, which are basically just game shows. But they're game shows with more of the personality of the contestant involved. Um, like the dating game and the newlywed game, like it puts real people uh like not against each other, but in conversation with each other. Like all of the drama comes from the way they interact, and but it's contained. And except for dating game, you're going to go on a date. Like you're taking this TV experience out into the real world, and that's what like the Bachelor and their Bachelorette do. They take this weird ass TV thing and they carry it out into the real world, and it gives people who watched it um maybe not an expectation, but a hope that it turns into reality, right? That like the two people on this show left and became a couple that lived happily ever after, which is silly. Like it, you know. But and this
It's
is
so rarely true.
it's so really true. But it's it's why wrestling is great, because like that uh Star Wars is made up, right? Like they're not pew pew vroom, vroom. Like those things aren't really happening. Like, and so wrestling's not real either. It's a story. They're telling a story pretending to fight. Except for sometimes it's real. Like, except for sometimes this guy is really sleeping with this guy's girlfriend, and that is the story that they're telling on screen.
Oh
Go
shit.
go look up Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy. It was fucked up. Um, turned into but they turned this real life drama into a thing that happened on screen. Um, and and then there's also the pieces where sometimes people actually really get hurt. You know, like there was something that happened last week on Monday night. I was watching. A guy he took a bump, like he did a big tumbling spot over the top rope onto somebody on the ground, and when he landed on his feet but was out of control, and he fell backwards against the announce desk and whipped it like it. That dude was lucky he didn't die. Like it was scary as shit. And he got up and like you could see and hear even in the announcers the chaos of like, okay, they're gonna have to rewrite this match right now. They're gonna have to call it, they're gonna have to wrap it up quick because he should not this guy got back up, got back in the ring and finished the match. And turns out that he's got like a couple broken ribs and maybe a punctured lung, and it wasn't nearly as serious as it could have been, which like dude could have broken his neck. Like could have been dead right that second. And so like the reality that lives on top of the artifice is part of what makes wrestling interesting, you know? And it's what gives us the connection to the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, which I was just getting ready to call these stupid shows, but I shouldn't do that because I don't watch those shows. I'm not interested, but it's fine that other people do. But the idea that you think that it's going to be real, and then you've got things like the real world, which puts 7 strangers picked to live in a house to find out what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real. Like that was the pitch. That's the tagline. And so you think these are real people having real interactions. And they kind of are, but they're also super staged and they really want to juice the drama. But if you don't realize that as you're watching it, you're like, ooh, Becky and Andre, or they're fighting with each other, and why is Julie so mad at Eric, and then that was 1990. 30 years later, you expect them to still have these relationships when, like, in reality, Becky and Andre haven't seen each other in 25 years. But we think they still have a relationship. And so we're trying to impose, like, we put reality into the fiction and then try to bring the fiction back out into reality. And it's that second part that's really the problem. But then you get to, like, Survivor, which I really like. I've liked Survivor since the second season. It's when I started watching it. But I've gone back and I've rewatched the whole run of it a couple of times. And the thing that's interesting about Survivor season 1 is the way that it was received. It was such a popular show. Like, it came out of nowhere and was massive. But it was also this weird thing where people were writing all these think pieces about how Survivor is like the fall of Western civilization, because it's these people and they're lying to each other. And there's like there's a debate in the show about whether it's moral to create alliances and you come up with a team of people that you're going to vote with to vote somebody else out. Like, is that moral? Which is fucking weird. It's a game. Like, you're
Also,
supposed to try to win the game.
Didn't they read Lord of the Flies? Like, minus the voting, alliances happen.
Of course they do. And they did happen. Like, and they started to become a part of the game. But then you started to see things like people who, like Johnny Fairplay. He's a guy who went on the show in, like, season 7, and he was a wrestling fan. And I didn't know this at the time, but I know it now, that, like, he went in to his auditions and he was like, I want to play this like a wrestling heel. You've never had a guy come in and just be a bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm coming in to on purpose be a bad guy. And, like, whenever he voted people out, he quoted wrestlers. Like, it was funny. It's like, it's this thing he did. But he also came in and he said, he set up a lie to start because they would do this loved ones visit, right? Like, your family comes to, like, somebody comes on. And he got with his buddy and he said, look, when you come out here, I need you to tell me that my grandma died. And I'm going to sell this, and I'm going to get everyone's sympathy because my grandma just died. And he did. And he sold it, and he's, like, crying, and my grandma died, and everybody's like, oh my God, poor John. And then they cut to the interview. He's like, my grandma's home watching Jerry Springer right now. And like, grandma was fun. Grandma was at the taping. It was at the reunion show at the end. But everybody was like, what a horrible person. Like,
Yeah.
what a bad human to say this about his No, it's not. It's silly fucking make-believe. But everyone took it real, and they carried it outside the show, and he's a real bad guy. And then when they came back and did All Stars the next season, Jerry, who was a bad guy from, like, season 2, was booed so heavily during the reunion show that she walked off in tears. She's like, you guys don't understand that we have real lives. We're going out here to play a game on television. You think you know who we are, but you know what we presented in this show. And the fact that you're treating me this way hurts.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, fuck you for being such a bitch. Like, it was like, well, that's not fair. Like, that's not a cool thing to do. And so we put all this shit on these shows, and they're just people out there playing a game, and some of them are trying to get fame. Everybody has reasons for the shit they do. Who cares? And it's fun to, like, root for or against the bad guys in the show. When they turn out to be bad people in real life, you're like, well, fuck that guy. Like, I really liked watching him on Survivor, but he seems like an asshole. So
Yeah.
I'm all the way out. But but like, if I ever like submitted to be on Survivor, which I won't because I don't want to do that. And and Probst asked why I wanted to do it. The reason I would want to do it is to become a part of the community of people who have played the game.
Yeah.
Because they like, it's like you're immediately one of us. You know, even if I've never met you, we're, you know, it's the same thing with, you know, the way you want it to be anyway, with like people on your college basketball team, like your favorite college basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
You want the guy in 2012 and the guy in 2024 and the guy in 1975 to look at each other and go, we're all part of the same thing here. You
Yeah.
know, you don't want to see them fight against each other. You want to see them be a cohesive unit because they have this shared experience. And there's some of these people on Survivor that I would like to be friends with because I think legitimately they're interesting people. And the easiest way to do that is to get cast on Survivor, like to carry it out of the game into the real world, which is
Yeah.
what we think the Bachelor people are going to do, which they aren't. It's fucking crazy. Um, and so our relationship with this stuff is very layered and weird.
Yeah. It's
I
kind of
don't.
our
Yeah.
relationship with celebrities too, you know,
Uh
like
huh.
you know, we've talked about it. For some reason we expect them, you know, to be their character or still be
Uh
best friends or in love, and it's like they have families, they have friends outside of this.
huh.
Like they
Yes.
are their own person. It's the mind is
I
strange.
mean, people up until like a week before Shannon died, people were still like, "Hey, Jenny, are you and Shannon still mad at each other?" And they were both like, "No, we're fine. Like, it's fine. Like, we're not best friends. We don't see each other every day, but we're fine. We're not mad at each other. Like, we coexist, you know?"
Yeah.
But the fact that Jenny and Tiffany in real life don't get along anymore kind of makes me sad. You know, like they were really good friends for a time. I don't know why I fucking care. I don't know these people. Like they're just people who were in a show that I like. Um,
I mean,
but we want them to exist in these relationships forever. And I'm not sure that's Chuck Barris's fault.
fair. And like I was just thinking too, like, you know, as an actor going into a new show, anything, like I do want to I do want to find friends in this group. However, it has helped my brain and my heart so much more by realizing these are colleagues and I
Mhm.
most likely am not going to see them again after this run is over or after this shoot is done.
Mhm.
You know, hope, but at the end of the day, like it's just so much better if you keep a layer of like this is a colleague, we need to work well together, and keep that
Mhm.
boundary. But yeah, so I agree. I don't think it's entirely Chuck Barris's fault. You know, he is he's the scapegoat for some reason.
I mean, he certainly was at the time. You know, like I think that, you know, people for like they were like, this Survivor is the end of civilization as we know it. Like, calm down, everybody. The real world is terrible. It's leading to degradation. Okay, fine, calm down. Like it probably isn't. You know what I mean? Like it's it's just shit that's on TV, and to think it's any dumber than Who's the Boss or Family Matters or, you know, any other sitcom, you know, it's you know, it
You
it's just
you could
entertainment.
yeah, and you could argue that anything and everything fun gets lambasted at some point. Like video games have been blamed time and time
Mm-hmm.
again for shootings
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. And it's like, okay, like maybe a small percentage has had that impact. Maybe a small percentage. I don't know. I think reality TV is definitely more dangerous than video games. But again, it all comes down to, at the end of the day, humans humans are the problem. Humans don't know how to differentiate
Mm-hmm.
between things. They don't know how to go, this person is this character. This person is also their own person.
Right. And it's, like there was this whole, you're too young for this, but there was this whole thing in the 80s where parents were like, heavy metal is causing kids to kill themselves. Because like one kid committed suicide and quoted a Judas Priest lyric or something.
Wow.
You know, I mean, but that was like a fucking thing, and they're like, they want to blame this, and they wanted to blame Columbine on these kids like in Marilyn Manson, and whatever. Um, it,
When when I got
it's
into
easier
D&D,
to do that.
when I got
Go ahead.
into D&D, I had no idea that D&D had been blamed until watching, like, I think the last season of Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're playing, but they're in like, I forget how this came to my attention, but it was just another one of those things. I went, oh, so something cool and fun, and people wanted to pinpoint that as like, it's destroying our kids. Um,
Mm-hmm. Elvis, Chuck Berry, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, like the Gong Show, like everything has been destroying our children. Comic books, like go read Seduction of the Innocents if you want to see like how far back this shit goes. The juvenile delinquency that was talked about in Rebel Without a Cause, like all of that, it's rock and roll that's causing all this stuff. It's comic books, it's reality TV, it's violence in video games, it's gangster rap, it's heavy metal. It's always fucking something. And what it's never is personal responsibility.
well, and I was, yeah, it's anything that forces you to turn the mirror back on yourself, and people really don't
Mm-hmm.
like that.
No, it's bad. I don't like mirrors are stupid. Um, Although I'll tell you this, when we do this thing, I got your face right here and my face over here. I look at my face all the time.
Okay,
All the time.
I feel bad all the time when I'm like looking over to see my face,
All the
but
time.
like, because I go back and
Constantly.
forth. But yeah, listen,
I do too. Yeah, no, I do too. But I'm like, oh, I can. What? How much of my T-shirt can be seen
yeah,
right now?
is my hair
Like,
looking
it's like,
okay? What is
yeah,
going to be
yeah,
nitpicked today?
right, yeah.
It's not.
So, yeah, so it's, I don't know. We love to do this. We love to put the things on the other things. They're the best. Many people are saying we should do more of it. Um,
How dare
Look,
you?
you know what? Here's the thing. There's something funny about the way that guy talks. Like, there just is. He says he's a horrible fucking monster, but he says stuff in a funny way sometimes, and I can't not laugh at things I think are funny. I just,
No,
um,
that's.
it's real dumb.
I mean, I envy anyone who can laugh right at that right now. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Joy is part of the resistance. Laugh. Find that laughter.
Mhm.
I'm not there yet. I have to go far
Yeah.
away from that, because like that sketch they did with Lin Manuel on SNL recently, I was
Uh-huh.
like, I know this is funny.
Mhm.
It's too soon for me.
Sure. Sure. I mean, Charlie Chaplin did The Great Dictator. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
if
okay,
you
fair.
can make fun of Hitler, you can make fun of anybody.
You know, we
As
did
far as
watch.
evil goes.
I did feel called to watch the video "Springtime for Hitler" from the producers this week, and I was like,
Yes. Yes.
okay,
Don't be stupid.
okay,
Be a schmotty. Come and join the Nazi party.
I know. And like, I'm just again impressed with the minds of people like Mel Brooks, and I'll get there. I need to dive into the humor, because yeah, you're right. It is
Mhm.
funny how he talks. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's so dumb. Yeah.
It's the least
Um,
intelligent voice in a long time.
No, it's real bad. Um, all right. Would you like to have some adventures in intimacy? There's a lot of sex in
Would
this
I?
movie.
Oh my god,
This
I
guy
know,
fucked
and
his
like
way across Europe.
we're 45 minutes in and I have a lot of intimacy to talk about. Um so I mean, once again, just like the story, I don't really believe the intimacy. Um
Right.
where wow, where to begin? Okay, first of all, no, okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. This, because there's a lot to cover, but I want to start with my questions. Because in this movie, he starts with talking about he's always had like an insatiable need for sex, sexual
Mm-hmm.
intimacy, that, and we see like an inappropriate thing well, we hear about an inappropriate story happening between two children. Thankfully, they don't show anything. The children are just talking about it, which, would require someone like, or I don't know. I actually had a question there. Like, if kids are just talking about it, do you need to explain the innuendo, or can you just shoot it as children?
I
Like,
mean, if it's innuendo, I think you can just have them say the words. You know,
because even though
because they don't know
I
what they
think,
mean.
yeah, and like, I don't think the kids have to know in order to play this correctly. I think you can
Mm-hmm.
give them the lines. If you need them to say it a certain way, then just tell them, like, you know what, Michael, Sarah, talk like you know what you're talking about. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know, because I think if you explain what they're really talking about, you get into some murky territory that is going to be really uncomfortable and inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and from then on, it is. I mean, I feel like every 5 minutes there was some kind of either there was some kind of intimate moment. And so my question is, what do you think they knew what story they were telling with all of this sex?
Oh, for sure. I think. Well, I guess it depends on what. I think they knew what they were telling. Now, whether it's what you saw and what the audience took, I don't know. But I think that they were very much telling um, a heightened fantasy version of what this guy thinks it would have been like to have been a spy.
Okay, I can get on board with that. I've been feeling confused cuz and I'm going to sound like a prude saying this, but watching it I was just like, this is a lot of sex. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is this adding to the story? But again, the more I've thought about it, and you saying it right now, also it rings true. Like, this is what he thinks being an assassin would be. He thinks he would be James Bond.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. It's a spy novel that he has put through his reality brain TV head and spit out the other end as my real life.
Yeah. And so knowing the story behind any intimacy or the amount of it, the level of it, that matters. You can't just throw that shit in. It's because
Mm-hmm.
this leads well into my the thing I was confused about. They act like he had a thing with Patricia, Julia Roberts' character. And like,
Uh-huh.
I never got that sense that they had a relationship until their final scene together. And I went, have they been fucking? Like,
Right.
it was
Yeah.
strange. And
Mm-hmm.
Walter totally bought it hook, line, and sinker that they had been together. And I went, I don't rewind. They have not done anything. They have,
Right.
she's been all pale and tragic,
Mm-hmm.
hiding in the shadows, and they've only ever spoken. They've worked together, but like we've never
Mm-hmm.
seen them hook up.
Right. But I feel like that is like by the time he gets to the end, he's like, if you believe all this other stuff, you'll probably believe I banged her too.
Valid. And I just remembered
You know what
because
I
in
mean?
looking at my yeah, because in looking at my notes, I just remembered there's a moment where they kiss and Julia Roberts is just I know. I'm upset thinking about it too. It was very
Not
strange.
feeling it.
No, we really weren't. but Julia Roberts is all over his face, like just roughly licking, and it didn't look good. I
Right.
thought you can do the rough stuff, but this just looks like they said, I don't know, do roughly lick him and nothing more. There was no impetus behind it. It was uh gross. Um I don't even know if I was in a movie or a show with Walter and they were like, we want rough looking in this, I'd be like, we need to talk about money then, because germs.
Right.
And like, this is
Right.
my
Right.
partner,
Right.
people. But like, oh my god. Anyway, back to this. Um, there definitely would have been need possibly for a body double because we see a lot of Sam Rockwell's ass.
Mm.
Not complaining, or unless it's someone else, because I mean, he's holed up in that apartment, and I don't know. I it probably lends to the ridiculous nature of this
Mm-hmm.
story. It's like we're just showing ass, showing
Mm-hmm.
the back. But since it's the back, it could very well have been someone else just standing in for him so that they could, one, save money because this was a low budget film.
Mm-hmm.
Or two, if Sam Rockwell was like, I don't feel like showing my ass today. I don't feel like doing squats.
I feel
So
like it was probably his ass because I don't. I mean, low budget, and also he was pretty new. Like
yeah.
he wasn't a
Uh,
name.
yeah, no, I feel like it was him too, especially in the moment when he's like behind the fridge door. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but that's just something I wanted to bring up. Like, hey, sometimes the body you think you're seeing is not the body you're seeing. It is someone else entirely.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure, for the record, that was Dennis Franz's ass on NYPD Blue. I'm pretty sure that was Sipowitz's real butt.
oh my god,
Just
I
saying.
haven't even seen it, and I already have an image I didn't want in my brain.
That's a
Um,
good one.
all right, let's see. Once again, we had another scene where like a ton of extras are making out in the background anytime they would go to a movie, which I'm like, man, remember the days when you could waste money on a movie to like do some macking?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Nowadays it's like, I
Was
just spent a ton of money on this. We are later.
right. I don't know. It's a, yeah.
Ah!
So yeah. And look, it's not back in the day because like those Dune popcorn boxes and whatnot. Like it's a whole thing.
Oh my god.
That's a whole fucking thing out there right now. Um, not for me. I don't like Dune. Like popcorn though.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
not the point. But
I liked the blanket placement during the there's a scene in the beginning when he gets a girl from the NBC page program and they're boinking and she's, shrieking out that she loves Chuck Barris and like they show, again from the back so you just see naked back of a woman, but then like his legs are splayed and kind of going all over the place, which could be really alarming, but like again they had so many blankets in there, like there was no worry of seeing anything. It was again the without it in maybe it intended to be a little comical. There's definitely some comical intimacy in this, but to the not like we see in say Fletch or Weird. Yeah.
mhm,
Let's see. Oh, kissing while driving? You definitely have to figure that out. Like even though he's not really driving,
right.
this is where I have a problem again with like you're not thinking about um what would happen in real life because if it's one thing if someone is just kissing along the side of you and trying
Mhm,
to entice you, but if you're going full like face to face kissing them
yeah.
and everything, like you're going to be off the road soon, buddy.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on the road. That's Now, whatever's happening down here can happen down here. Eyes on the road. All I'm saying.
I
Show
had
him,
to yell
honey.
at a guy once on a date because he was like, "So how are you doing?" And he just looked right at me as he's driving, asked me, and I'm like, "Can you keep your eyes on the road? I would like to
Yeah,
get to the end of this date
that's
alive."
right. Yeah, I don't want to die. This is bad. Yeah, I
Dork.
mean that's that scene from Parenthood. You've seen Parenthood, right?
No.
No? Oh, it's so great. There's a whole thing where um uh um Mary Steenburgen is Steve Martin's wife. And he's all stressed out and her sister-in-law is like, sometimes, you know, if my husband's stressed out, I'll, while he's driving. And so um she she does this and cut to car is crashed into something and and they're talking to the police and the police is like, so what exactly happened? And he goes, show him, honey.
Oh no. That's funny.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Speaking of that, um we have someone on the dating game mimicking being blown.
Uh-huh.
Because the contestant is like, if you were a horn and I was blowing you, what kind of sounds would you make?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that was really funny and clever. But again, you got to, I mean, that's a discussion because, yes, you can take it as, hey, you're just mimicking a horn here, but
Mm-hmm.
you're also an adult with knowledge of what's really being talked about here. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to be comfortable with that, and then also you might need a discussion of, okay, let's play with the length of the sound. Length. um I'm in middle school. I
I
wanted to
like
beat
it.
you to the joke, that's why I did it. But you got to play with the length of sound, the volume. Anyway, so, and then
And the
one last
balls.
thing. Oh my god, no. I mean, I don't know, you do have to do a thing on the horn, so like you could play with something there.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Just squeeze
Again,
the air valves or something. I
all
don't know how horn.
all of this. Empty the spit valve.
Yuck, the spit valve.
I'm a
All
professional.
right.
I
I
think
like
the
it.
last thing that I thought of, a moment where like an icy could come in handy. Again, there's so much stuff throughout this. I could talk for much longer, but like at one point someone is talking with food in their mouth straight at another person, and I thought, "Oh, I want you angled. Like we can have you angled far away from me and make it look like you're closer because I don't want any of that coming in my face."
Ah, sure.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
it's a little thing. It's definitely something I would think about being an actor, and that be like, "Can you move your face?"
So I'm not going to point out that you just said
No,
I
I
don't
know.
want that coming in my face. I'm not gonna say that you said that. I'm not gonna point it out. Not gonna I'm not going into it. That's not we're letting it go, is all I'm saying.
It's like high school all over again. The things I say, and then people are like, "Leslie, what you just said." I'm like, "I know."
Yeah. And then you said, it's just like high school all over again. And now I want to know what you were up to in high school.
Nothing. Absolutely. Just
Yeah.
making out before school.
Spit
Good
valving.
times. Ew. So yeah, there's a lot of intimacy in this. It's comical. It's about as believable as this story.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Any more intimacy?
There is a moment where, so when he's caught by Drew Barrymore having sex with another woman, I loved that they were completely in the dark.
Mm,
I
yeah.
thought that was, again, they did some really creative stuff with this. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't keep it all one note. Thank you, George Clooney.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I like the way that they used the lighting in those for all of that spy shit, where it was just like very clearly we're trying to make this look like a spy novel, a spy film.
Yeah.
Like this is this is what super sexy spy stuff looks like, and murder and all of that stuff.
Which explains why when he's walking around, there was a moment when he's abroad doing assassin shit and he's walking, and I mean, it feels like this is coming more from Sam Rockwell, and I'm fine with it. But like there was just this exuding of sensuality that you don't get any other time. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
and I realize now, like, oh, because he's feeling himself in this. Like, again, he thinks he's 007.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, again, redemption. For all the bad stuff I put on television, I'm just out here doing some murdering and fucking, and that's great.
Yep.
You know, I'm pretty good at that. All right. So, sorry. To my mind, there's only one thing in Needle Drop Forest, and I'm not sure how much talking about it there is. But the fact that he wrote Palisades Park is fascinating to me. Like, just like I didn't know that. Like, you'd find those random ass things out, like, oh, this person who I know from doing this also did this, and those don't seem
Yeah.
related at all. And that he never had, like, he didn't write another hit song. It's not like he was. I guess he wrote some of the theme music for for his game shows. So he might have written the
I feel like,
do.
do you remember on 30 Rock when Tracy Morgan is going for the EGOT?
Uh-huh.
I feel like Chuck Barris did the least in trying to go for that. He was like, I wrote a song, done.
That's right.
Now TV show,
Yep.
done. Like,
yep. I'm gonna make this a stage production,
yeah.
so I can get my Tony. Yeah. It is. It's a lazy EGOT attempt for sure. But Palisades Park is a fun song.
Yeah.
You know.
I did give it a listen.
Were you not familiar with it?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That's just one of those songs I grew up knowing. Yeah. Down at Palisades Park.
I like that you thought I would know that better than parents hating heavy metal, which, again, fair. It's just, but Palisades Park is so much older.
It is much older, but it's also like it wasn't like I was born when that song was a hit either, and I knew it.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think that, like, that, unless you're listening to the lyrics to "We Didn't Start the Fire," where he mentions heavy metal suicide, you're like, you may not know that was a thing. You know, like,
Fair.
it holds the same amount of weight in the public consciousness as the Cola Wars.
Mm.
You know, which is that's a battle I took part in the 80s. I fought in the Cola Wars.
Is that Pepsi versus Coke?
It was yeah. See, this is the thing, you don't even know about it. It was big. There were blind taste tests in malls across the country where you could go and do the Pepsi challenge, where you would try both of them and you wouldn't know which one was which, and you would say which one you thought was better.
Oh, I would know.
I would know now. At the time, I'm not sure that I did. And the answer is they're both gross, and but Pepsi is worse.
You know, so even though I think I had a vague knowledge of it because that was definitely something we would talk about sometimes at school. It was like, oh, which do you drink? And when I said, oh, well, you know, we have Diet Pepsi and that's what I drink, and people would be disgusted with me. Like,
at least you weren't like, I'm an RC Cola gal.
Oh God, no.
All right, what else time? Is this anyone's defining role?
No.
I don't think so either.
Like, Sam Rockwell has done so. I would guarantee if you mention Sam Rockwell, and granted, he's one of those that kind of shows up in a bunch of different things, and like, you remember him as good, but you may not remember what he looks like because he slips into roles really well. But like, I would not. I don't think most people would remember this or know of this.
Even though it was like his big break. I mean, he was really good in it and got a lot of,
Well,
accolades. Like he was praised for his work.
and clearly someone thought he and Drew Barrymore had good chemistry because they were in Charlie's Angels together.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
See, again, forgot he was in that. So I guess he's a spelling connection this week too.
Yep.
So, um, so one of the things that I don't think there's anyone's defining role either. One of the other what else's that I thought was interesting was the fact that Charlie Kaufman has sort of denounced this movie. Like,
Yeah.
he wrote it, and then he didn't. He was sort of rewritten. Like Clooney brought in Chuck Barris to advise, and Barris changed some things, got rid of a drug subplot, I think.
I read
And
that.
Kaufman was like, this isn't what I wrote. Like, this isn't, like, and so it's not. I'm good. Peace out.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame because I think the movie is good. It's an interesting movie, but it's not the movie that he wrote. So,
Yeah, and like as someone who also worries about her work being altered and still being credited, like it's definitely like an annoyance of
mhm,
it's not what I gave you. I told you not to change it, or at least not to change without telling me. So yeah,
mhm.
I feel bad for him because this would be incredibly annoying and probably feel. I mean, it's gonna mess with your confidence.
Could, for sure. Yeah, it felt like he was used to getting whatever weird shit in his head put directly on camera. Like being John Malkovich is crazy weird. And
Yeah.
so is adaptation. And they're both great. But they do feel like they feel like what was in there came out on the page and then ended up on the screen. And it seems like maybe that wasn't the case here. Not at least as much as he would have preferred. So, that's a shame.
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder. I wonder to what end writers are really guaranteed their work being exactly what it is at the start to the very end. Like part of
Mm-hmm.
creating and telling stories on film and on stage is that like the work is going to change. It will most likely not be the same thing that it started as, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm. I think like the Coen brothers are pretty famous for like the ers or the ers and the ums or the ums. Like nothing gets
Mm,
changed. We wrote this on purpose. Um,
I
but
like
there
that.
are lots of other people. I do too, and it works because their stuff is distinct and it's so brilliantly done that like all of those all of the back and forth between Donnie, Walter, and the dude feel so of the moment, but those were written exactly like that. Like
Nice.
there's no extra beat. Those are as they intended them to be said. Um, and some people are able to make that happen, and I think a lot of times Charlie Kaufman is, but in this case he wasn't. Um,
Oh well.
and to his chagrin, I think. So, um,
Indeed.
what else you got?
I just I didn't know the NBC page position went that far back. I was like, oh, it's Jeff
Oh,
McBraier's part.
that's right, Kenneth. Yeah, no, the NBC Page program is that goes back as far as 30 Rock. I think it's been there a long time. And so
So that was my only other
there's
thing.
yeah. All right, what is this the EST of for you?
Oh my god, this is the kookiest
It's pretty kooky,
biopic I think I have ever seen. And we just watched Weird,
right? Yeah, yeah, that's a whole different kind of kooky.
but this
Um,
was kooky and strange.
mhm. I think for me, this is as biopics go, has the least reliable narrator. Like
Mm,
when the foundation of the movie itself is up for debate as to whether it's real, like
yeah,
it puts the whole thing on a different footing. So, um, yeah, I think that's where this lands for me, EST wise.
yeah.
But I like this movie. I'm glad I watched it again. It's been quite a while since I'd seen it. So,
I'm I'm glad we watched it. It was interesting, and I was very excited to talk about it. So
Yeah. Well, I think we did it. I think we once again have proven my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling.
even Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Even all these dangerous minds, all the dangerous minds. So join us here next week on Wednesday when we watch season 3, episode 25, Senior Poll. We're getting close to the end of senior year, and some crazy stuff's about to occur.
Yeah.
But for our movie next week, I think you had an idea
Oh yeah.
that you wanted to watch. So what are we going to watch next week?
I feel like we should watch Mean Girls. Mostly because there was a scene in the episode where the girls are nitpicking themselves
Mm-hmm.
in front of each other, and that is, I would say, a distinguishing scene in Mean Girls because
Okay.
that happens there too, to the point where they all say, the plastics all say something mean about themselves, and then they look at Katie waiting for her to say something, because unfortunately that is currency among young women, is,
Right.
how much do you hate yourself? And
Right.
then, there's the voting for s- spring dance queen. What, I don't know what their dance is called, but
Mhm.
it's voting. So I'm
Right.
down for that if
Yeah.
you are.
I'm down for it. We got to find our spelling connection because I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head.
Well, and you
Um,
definitely, that further validates why we shouldn't do the musical. One, the movie musical is bad. But
mhm.
two, you're gonna have less options.
Yeah. Like I think we'll probably be okay here. Um, but I just glancing at the cast, I don't see anyone that's an obvious for me. So we'll do
Okay.
a little dig. Um, and hopefully we'll find something and we can watch Mean Girls. But until then, cheese meisters.
Cheers.
Cheers.